Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jim Patterson with Wicresoft, and I'll be presenting today. Thank you for having interest in our topic about the new chapter for Microsoft Project and why you can't afford to miss the wave. With all the things that were announced at Ignite here in the last week, there's a lot of excitement and curiosity around what's going on with the next generation of Project, and hopefully we can give you some information as it's available today and paint some pictures of what's available and how Wicresoft is actually already joining the wave and how it can support the customers moving forward. A little bit of housekeeping before we move forward. The audience will be muted for this webinar. However, there is a question panel in GoToWebinar that you can log any questions you have along the way. We'll be monitoring that chat panel and answering your questions along the way. And if we are not able to answer them immediately, we'll get back to you via email with some answers to your questions. So with that, let's move on forward with the content of this presentation. So the journey for a new chapter and project really starts with an overarching vision and mission. The way people is working is changing in the marketplace today, and teams work the way they want. There's different methods, different tools, but the idea here is that we want the teams to be able to work the way they want and executives to still get the results that they need. That's the overarching vision. And then the mission is to really empower companies to achieve better results by aligning their investments or the opportunities that they have with projects and resources they have available to them in their organizations, but also working with the agility and flexibility and collaboration they need globally, because we are working in global organizations a lot of times with global partners and actually people internally within our companies. But we want to do this all using intuitive and consistent tools in the Microsoft cloud, rather than a myriad of tools that might be out there from a variety of different vendors that people have selected ad hoc. And if we look at the modern work management definition here, problems and then solutions that we have to these with the modern project approach and vision that's out there is that on the left, work is happening everywhere all the time, and we tend to lose track. They tend to be done in disconnected silos of information and different tools, whether they be different cloud tools, different on-premise tools, or even people just using Excel to manage certain things. And then the solution to that is to become more transparent, to be able to have the big picture of all work, from tasks to portfolios across multiple services and tools that are being used, so that we can get the big picture regardless of what tools or methodologies are being used. And then the other problem is that our teams choose their own tools to work the way they want. And with the ready availability of trials and tools that are available in the cloud, that's even more common today than it's ever been before. So the solution to that is to become more versatile with what we're offering and what Microsoft is offering, so that we can collaborate on projects with flexible methodologies, but use familiar Microsoft tools so that people have an ease of adoption of those types of things. And another piece of the landscape is that there's more and more accidental project managers, as we say. And the millennials that are coming into the workforce and that are in the workforce, they also have expectations and want simple visual tools that are fun and that they want to use, that are out there in the marketplace. So the answer to that for Microsoft is to really evolve modern work management so that we can start fast with simple interfaces and a modern web experience that people can get to and adopt and start using easily. Also, many organizations, the problem is that business processes cross functions and systems. Once again, that whole idea of organizational silos and system silos. The solution to that is really to become more integrated, to be able to run your end-to-end business process on a single platform so that it's totally connected, meaning that what we do in different aspects or different parts of the system or different parts of our organization are tied to what's being done in the rest. And then a single compliance, security, or platform issue can disrupt a business is a problem today. And today, with more and more of the standards that are out there, we need to be able to innovate with confidence on a platform that is highly compliant and secure and scalable, and not have to worry about those aspects of it as an organization individually, when somebody like Microsoft is out there with a platform that addresses all that already. So one of the tenets of the new modern workplace for modern project is to get the big picture. A modern PPM solution should help enterprise, one, align investment to strategy. We come into this with a lot of ideas and a lot of investments requests that are made in organizations, and it's generally more than we can actually do at any given point in time. So to be able to identify, select, and deliver project portfolios that best align with business strategy and maximize the return on investment and value to the company is more important than ever to make sure that we're working on the right things that bring the right return. And then also to be able to choose projects objectively and not so much subjectively by voodoo or preference. The idea here is to be able to prioritize project-based opportunities with built-in intelligence to plan for successful outcomes. And people more and more want to be able to do that in a funnel of requests that come in. We also want to be able to monitor progress toward business goals and be able to monitor progress using an integrated set of business intelligence dashboards and analytics that allow us at a glance to look at information that's a natural output of the solutions that we're working on and the processes that we're working on, and not have that information or getting those dashboards be a project in and of themselves to make them manually or semi-manually. And then we want to be able to gain visibility across all work, and that means we want to quickly understand status and investments for all of our work efforts. That's from the portfolio level, down to the program level, down to projects, and even into individual tasks and milestones that we have in the efforts that we're embarking upon. We also want people to be able to work how they want, as we stated earlier on. And a modern PPM solution should help teams, as we said before, work their way. Be able to manage projects using a team's preferred methods, whether it be agile, waterfall, or some hybrid, or even some ad hoc unstructured type of work. And then use tools that match their work style. There are familiar capabilities and collaboration through native Office 365 tools that eliminate traditional project team silos because they're all connected. And then managing tasks and time from anywhere. Be able to enable teams to report on and own tasks to their completion anywhere, anytime, on any device. And being cloud-based allows us to make that happen. And also be able to still maintain governance. So even though we have this broad footprint across silos and organizations and even geographically dispersed teams, be able to quickly understand status and investments with built-in governance tools like workflows in the platform so that we can manage process. And while we want to give people latitude to work the way they want, we want to have our finger on the pulse at all times. And then we got to be able to get up fast and start fast. A modern PPM solution should empower all information workers. So when we talk about accidental project managers, we mean the folks that have been basically enlisted to manage projects, even though they may not be a classically trained PMP or somebody that's been a project manager professionally in their organization. Oftentimes, developers and engineers and other folks in organizations are tagged with the responsibility to manage projects, and we have to give them tools so these occasional project managers, who project management is just one of the things that they do, can benefit from simplicity on things like task boards and be able to manage smaller projects in a way that they can actually adopt. And then professional project managers, they have needs and wants and requirements to use more advanced tools for more nuanced approaches or complete approaches to project management as they traditionally want to do. And we need to be able to accommodate both within the same solution and platform. And also be able to boost productivity with familiar tools. We want to be able to get project teams started fast with intuitive PPM tools and have modern web experiences that resonate with the users and seem to be ones that they gravitate to, rather than looking for other ways to do things because they find it a less than pleasing user experience. And we also want to model our processes across functions and systems. So a modern PPM solution should help your teams customize their PPM experience. Giving the platform that we're moving to, Microsoft is moving to, with a common data service, you get the PPM solution you need with native Office 365 capabilities, Dynamics 365 capabilities, and Visual Studio Team Services capabilities, just to name a few. And we want to be able to easily extend functionality. One of the big benefits of the new direction that project is taking is that it is based on a Power Apps foundation. And you can use Power Apps to build codeless apps and Flow for integrations and for business process modeling, and be able to create custom apps and automated workflows with no coding experience required. And then we can also collaborate with other integrated tools. We can foster great collaboration and avoid the tool proliferation of a variety of tools from a variety of different vendors, by having a PPM solution that includes an integrated solution that has all these options for simple task management, scheduling, communications, and all the things that are needed within the same platform, and make it easily accessible and usable. And then really, we want to be focusing on the business, not the technology. Even IT today is about delivering value to the business and not necessarily delivering technology for technology's sake. So in that realm, a modern PPM solution should help teams both scale automatically, and we're talking about managing up to 30,000 projects and resources on a single platform, and while maintaining enterprise-grade performance. So it has to be robust enough to meet those design parameters. And also, it has to forget about infrastructure. In the old days, we used to manage server farms to do these enterprise systems and have to maintain that aspect of it, and the security and the compliance all around that. And in today's landscape, that's even increasingly more difficult. And today, with the cloud-based Microsoft Cloud solutions and platforms, they take on that, and you get to forget about all that and just focus on the work at hand. And to be able to work securely in that infrastructure, enterprise-grade security, privacy, and transparency through Microsoft 365 meets the compliance requirements across industries and geographical requirements, including things like HIPAA for healthcare, and FedRAMP for the government, and EU model clauses and GDPR in the EU, and the different ISO standards that are out there. To be able to have that inherently built into the solution is a big benefit, so organizations don't have to deal with it individually. So if we look at the new modern work management ecosystem, it all starts at the bottom here with the Microsoft Cloud as a platform. And if you look at the hierarchy of work management from the top down, from the portfolio level PPM's capabilities that are needed for an enterprise PMO, that includes things like Project Online and road mapping to get a bigger picture of all that's going on. For the PMO, the individual PMO, to leverage things like Project Online and Project Home for execution level PPM, and we'll define these a little bit later here in the presentation. To be able to use things like, and familiar tools like Project, Office 365 tools, and Office 365 Planner to foster more collaborative work management. And then using the capabilities of Office 365, Dynamics 365, and the common data service for apps allows us to on a more integrated basis, manage our business processes and bridge the gaps between the silos that have often existed and very frequently exist in organizations today. And the idea is there's something in this new approach for everybody as we move forward. So let's start with what's here today. Let's introduce Project Home. For those of you who are using Project Online today, you may have noticed a change that has come already in your landing page when you come into Project Online. Project Home is really meant to provide a capability to easily access all projects and roadmaps from across the ecosystem through a centralized hub, through a combination of recent accesses and favoriting, and be able to get and create projects and work elements from this single central point. To be able to create new projects and choose the preferred methodology all within the hub, and be able to drill into individual projects for more details no matter where it's being managed. Today it's here for Project Online, but where it's going in the near term is to be able to use things like Office 365 Planner, Azure boards, and Dynamics Professional Services Automation, or PSA, as a variety of sources, not to mention Visual Studio. But the idea here is that it's meant to be a portal and a landing place where you can actually get access to all projects regardless of what tool set it's being managed in. Also coming soon is the concept of roadmap, and it's really the first iteration of what's going to be the portfolios in the Microsoft offering. And then this allows us to use projects that are being managed in a variety of areas, but be able to see portfolio roadmaps for proposed and current projects in one place in a succinct presentation. To be able to create roadmaps and define key dates at the portfolio level for more accurate portfolio planning as we look at trade-offs and overlaps and dependencies. To be able to connect key project tasks and milestones from things like Visual Studio and Project Online and Planner and Dynamics to get the latest health status on all these things and see where we're at any given point in time. And then the ability to prioritize project inside the roadmap to achieve top-down planning and use this tool or higher level visibility to do more top-down prioritization and planning. No definite timetables on this yet, but early in 2019 is the common understanding at this point for this particular capability. And then coming soon, Project Service, which is the new modern user experience for project. The ability to be able to provide the needs of a more robust project manager, but also the more simplified approach and UI for the accidental project manager that we talked about. Using a web-based modern UI metaphor in here that makes it easier to get started and easier to navigate and learn. Leveraging things like the groups approach in Microsoft for security and collaboration, meaning it's easier to get people on board and incorporate it into your team without needing central administration to do security. The ability to do co-authoring, that's exciting as we have collaborative teams in geographically dispersed areas. People can actually work on plans together and actually see the changes being made by one another as they're happening. And just an all-new scheduling service on the back end of this and being built on the Power Apps platform for extending this and providing mobile access. And then ultimately, it's going to be integrated with Dynamics apps and leverage the common data service or CDS for apps as its repository or a place where it stores its data. So the journey is being made in this new platform, and this is at its early stage. And we'll talk about what that means for current users of Project today as part of this presentation. But Project has adopted an approach that's going to use this common data service for apps as its new vehicle for data storage and for the environment and the platform. Together with Power Apps and Flow, it delivers more power in the terms of scalability, performance, and higher level of security and compliance that's needed in the marketplace today, as well as being able to provide a common data source for all this information for things like access to data, queries, and reporting and analytics. If we look up top just early on the left, modern project, roadmaps, and PSS scheduling are going to be the first things that are here. Leveraging modern group security, and what's coming for this new modern project will be things like time and expense, resource management and approvals, and then that's going to be based on this whole Power Apps platform and approach that we see down below. So if we look at this, the Microsoft platform of Power Apps, Power BI, and Microsoft Flow really gives us the ability to leverage the powers of Dynamics 365, Office 365, and Project as all part of that same platform. And what ties it all together really is that common data service for apps and the data connectors that will allow us to use a variety of tools feeding those data sources. Now, Microsoft has already started their journey. It's very early on, but it has already started. So for example, in the past year, Microsoft has added agile capabilities into the Project Desktop client, meaning you can actually do sprints and iterations and build backlogs and start managing these things more iteratively using a drag and drop capability here that people are used to using in the more agile oriented types of tools, all within Project Desktop today. And that's available and that's here today. And also the Project Online Home experience, that is here today in its first iteration. It's only working with Project Online at this particular point in time, but the idea here is that it will become a forum for all projects regardless of where they're being managed in the Microsoft platform and solution. And then just so you know, Wicresoft has already joined the journey. We're going to show you how tools like our OnePlan and our OneConnect are already working with the new CDS and the new future platform for Microsoft. And the idea here is that people can actually start leveraging some of these things today as they prepare for where Microsoft's going in the future. And we'll talk about that more in our demonstration portion as well. So with that, let's move on to a demonstration. All right. So, you know, here, as we look at an Office 365 environment, what I thought I'd bring up first is the whole concept of Project Home. Project Home, oops, excuse me. Project Home is this forum where you land, and those of you who use Project Online will notice that this is coming up as your landing page as it gets released to you. But the idea, it's a place where you can actually look at recent projects that you've had access to, where you can actually establish different projects as favorites so that you can get to them quickly. The idea here is that you can actually create new projects from here. And right now it does allow us to do it within Project, but it'll be available to do this in other tools as well as this capability and this tool set evolves. The idea here is we can look at those recently accessed projects, get quick access without having to go through an entire project center like we did before. And then the ability to just have your work, regardless of what tools it's being managed in, show up here is the ability to do that anytime you like. You do have the ability to go to the traditional landing page for Project Web App if you like, but the idea here is that this is where would be a starting point and would actually give us the way to facilitate more interaction with a variety of tool sets on a more cohesive basis, so that people might be working in some projects in Project, and you might be working on some in Visual Studio, which is, I believe, being now called Azure DevOps moving forward. And Microsoft Office 365 Planner for more simplified projects or flow-based types of projects. And the idea is that this is going to continue to evolve and give you more and more capabilities over time. Now, another thing that's here is in the area of Microsoft Project Desktop. For those of you that have Project Professional for online, this is what's available today. And the idea is, instead of having the traditional templates and the waterfall project capabilities, you now have the ability to create what's called here in the templates area as sprints projects. And as we look at that and we go to open a particular project, I'll look at one that I've just simply modeled in here. But instead of the traditional Gantt chart type of user interface, it's actually giving us the ability to use boards as the approach. So here I'm looking at an overall task board that we might be building a potential backlog of things that we might want to do. And we can then move things through the flow and move things into what's next up and what's being worked on, as well as move things through your progress stages or phases as we go on through. And you can redefine those columns, so if you have different methodologies that you'd like to do, you can do that as well. As we move through and want to look at a planning, you can look at a sprint planning board. So as we divide these things into individual sprints or iterations, we can start putting tasks and things into sprints and be able to manage those things in a current sprint, for example, and look at as we move things through the process of an individual sprint by dragging and dropping things through here and basically monitoring their progress. It's all using the same Project Desktop, just using a different template and a different method to manage those types of things. And then in managing this, we can define our sprints and iterations. In this case, in this example, I set up a very typical 2-week set of sprints or iterations, of which we can then slot our backlog items as we work through them. So very cool capability that's now in Project for people that have different modes that they want to be able to do their planning and their work in. And it gives them the ability to do this here if they haven't already committed to some other agile tools. Now, one of the other things that's available as we go through this is the concept of just the modern planner capabilities. You know, being able to take the project home and be able to drill, say, for example, into the social networking integration project, it gives me the ability to just go directly to that project from Project Home. And notice I'm in my traditional view in Project Online. I now have a schedule view. I can get to the project site. I can get to all the different project detail pages that are there, as well as any of the navigations that I have open up in here. So once again, it's a quick, high-performance way of getting to where we want to get to quickly, on a very targeted basis. So that's here today for those of you using Project Online. It's a quick way to get into these individual projects. Now, that being said, Wicresoft is really adding into this whole modern approach these days with the addition to augment Project Online and Project with OnePlan from Wicresoft. And OnePlan allows us within these project detail pages to add a lot of different capabilities. One of the ones we're going to talk about today and actually have a special offer for you guys is the ability to add resource scheduling capabilities in a more graphical and a more modern interface, much like you're going to see in the modern planner, and actually have this feed with capabilities to synchronize data with Project Online for things like the resource engagements and capacity planning. So for example, here, right here within Project Online, this is available today and available for people that want to do this in the current version. You can actually look at the resources you might want on a project. You can actually look at the individual engagements that people are on and what high-level elements that they're working on particular projects. You can even do generic planning and look and see how I need a developer to develop solutions. And I may see here that I have WoFat, who's a developer who looks like they have some capacity available, and very quickly and easily be able to take that element and assign it to WoFat and have that added to WoFat's workload as they move on through. You can actually pick planning horizons in here. You can group things by roles, departments, or whatever other parameters that you might see fit. You can zoom these things in from months and weeks and even down to daily increments. You can do your planning in here in terms of the total number of hours that are available, or you could actually look at it from a percentage basis. So you can look at what percentage of their bandwidth they'd be using up. And very cool in here is the ability to also solicit collaborative updates. So for example, you can actually solicit from your team members for them to basically provide whatever status you want. So basically a status component and a % complete is what I'm asking for, and I can have it sent now or go out on a scheduled basis, and then the team members will be able to respond to this online and get me the updates that I'm looking at doing. And the other cool thing here is I'm looking at this in the context of a single social networking integration project, but I can also at any given point in time say, show me this in context of all work these people are on. So if I look at this, I can see in the broader context, I have a lot of red because I have people that are over allocated when I look outside of the context of just this one project. So all in all, I think just from a quick perspective, these are the types of modern planning capabilities that we're adding to Project Online today, and as we'll see, are moving forward into the next generation of project as well. I will say this, that a couple of other things that are available within OnePlan beyond just this high-level resource scheduling capability that interacts and augments and updates the engagements feature in Project Online is the ability to do more detailed financial planning. So as we go into the financial planning aspect of it, the ability to have different cost types in here, whether it be budget, forecast, actuals, and even tracking benefits, the ability to compare budget versus forecast or budget versus actuals and have it heat mapped to show where we're over and underspend, to be able to have the detailed budget categories that you would like so that you can track it detailed categories. These are the types of things in a more modern interface that OnePlan adds to Project Online. And then resource capacity planning that's done in a grid basis that people might want to do just from a more numeric basis as far as number of hours or headcount or FTEs, to be able to do that right within Project Online or in the new modern project as it comes forward is something that's very powerful as we move on through. So Wicresoft is definitely trying to stay ahead of the curve and helping people in transitioning to where they're going in their journey with Microsoft Project. Now, another piece that's in here is the ability to do these same things in the new modern platform. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is already built on the Common Data Service, and the ability to use the same OnePlan capability right within Dynamics 365 for project management, portfolio management, or other things, it's transportable for us, and we're already integrating with this. And so for an additional fee, but and with some configuration, this can be integrated and worked seamlessly within your new modern platform, and it's already working with the CDS from Microsoft. And then I would just say this today about that, is that we're going to have an offer for you today, and OnePlan, just the resource scheduling piece, the one that I showed initially that allows you to take information and be able to do more graphical planning and be able to, let me go zoom that to a month, and be able to then take information like this and be able to drag planning information and more graphically allocate generic assignments to others, or be able to split these assignments into multiple entities throughout and be able to provide all that capability. We're going to be offering this to you today on a complimentary basis, and we'll talk to you a little bit later about that. But the idea is it's available to you to do this capability today, and it's going to be there to move you into the future. And then I guess another piece that I'd like to talk about is just the whole concept of integration. Where Wicresoft has really been a thought leader is in the whole idea of connectors for Project Online and other things. And I would just say this, in getting things like OnePlan and other things to work with the new data service, we have a whole set of productized connectors that work with Project Online, work with Dynamics 365 and the Common Data Service, as well as other third-party tools that you might want to connect to that are entrenched in your organization, things like Jira and things like ServiceNow, et cetera. The ability to do that is here today. And as you transition to the future of where Microsoft's going, as they incrementally add things to the process, you can get those capabilities today and then leverage them from Microsoft as they become available. So just some visuals or just some things of showing what's available today and where things are going a little bit, and how Wicresoft can help in that regard. So let's go back to this. And then, what does this mean from a licensing perspective for the users out there in Project Online? Well, really, that doesn't deviate you from the current SKUs or things you made investments in. So people shouldn't worry about, did I invest in the wrong product or the wrong things? People that have Project Online Premium or Project Online Professional, they're going to continue to be able to use Project Online as they have, and for the foreseeable future. There's no end date that's been targeted for that at all. People can continue to use it as they've done. And they will get access by the nature of having those licenses to the new Project Online home experience, to the portfolio roadmap when it comes out, and the new project management experience with the more modern project that's going to be available. So that's going to become available to you today as part of your subscription, and then you'll be able to use those as you see fit in conjunction with what you're using today. A project cloud subscription, what's nice about this is that it's per user, not per device, meaning you can access this from any device. You don't have to license this on any device. It's a subscription model, so there's a lower cost of entry. It's a pay-as-you-go, so you can predict your budgeting. And you can also get up-to-date software all the time, meaning you're always on the most current version. You no longer have to do upgrades when you go into the cloud. The idea here is that instead of having these big bang releases or major service packs that you have to disrupt and implement within your own infrastructure, they get bled out more incrementally into your solution, and you get added value as you go over time on a much less disruptive basis, and not having you manage that by introducing them to your organizations. And in transitioning to the cloud, people that are using on-premise project today, I'd highly recommend that you consider moving to the cloud versions. For people that have Project Standard and Project Professional or Project Server and Client Access licenses on premise, if you transition those to cloud, you get all the capabilities that we're going to be talking about here today, as well as the Project Server Access if you want it moving on through. And then shared computer activation is kind of a cool thing when you look at Project Pro for Office 365, as far as people that use remote desktop services or virtual computers or shared desktops. The idea here is that it gets installed but not activated, and then when a user logs in, the project temporarily activates for that particular user and gives access to the online services. But when the project user logs out, project's no longer activated on that desktop, so if the person that comes on next has it, they don't use it. So the idea is it's wherever you're at, it allows you to use your authentication and your activation for that. So very cool capability here, where we're not tied to devices so much as it's tied to the individual user and the capabilities that they can use anywhere, anytime. And you can actually install your individual access into up to 5 PCs at any given time. And then for those of you that have invested in the current iterations of project, there is the concept of cloud add-ons, meaning you can leverage the investment that you have and get a reduced price to uptick or upgrade into the newest version. It's easy to do, it's got an attractive price, and it's flexible within the plans that you have here today. So how it works is, if you actually have Project Professional, say on the desktop with software assurance in your existing investment, you would just incrementally add on the add-on SKU for Project Online Professional, making it easy and less of an investment than if you bought the full Project Professional user license by itself. So meaning if you have invested already, there's benefit to that in the fact that it's going to significantly reduce the investment you make to move to the new and more modern capabilities. So the customer commitments that we've heard from Microsoft is continuity. One is to use Project Online confidently while planning for the start of the new service. So the idea is that you can continue to use it. There's nothing that needs to be disrupted. It's here and it's going to be here for quite some time. And that the principle of transparency, as Microsoft is evolving the timetables and the contents of the roadmap, they've committed to releasing that roadmap on a regular basis and updating the customer base so they know where things are every step of the way. And what's nice about this, because you get access to both with your licenses, you can take a very non-disruptive side-by-side approach. You can leverage your investment in Project Online today and try out the new modern pieces in parallel with that as you see fit. And you can transition over to the new capabilities and the new modern technology at a time that's right for your business. So you're not being forced to move on a timetable that's not ideal, or not move in at a time when maybe it doesn't have all the capabilities that you require. Now, for more resources and information on Microsoft's messaging, not just Wicresoft's messaging of the Microsoft piece to you, we'll be sending out a copy of these slides to everyone, and there's some links down below of Microsoft's release of what the new vision for project is, a letter to the project community, and then some Q&A from some frequently asked questions that are available out there to the in the Microsoft blog. So there'll be information and access and links to this that you'll be receiving so you can read those things for yourself. And if you want to learn and stay more connected over time, Microsoft says that they're going to be releasing more information in the M365 blogs, in the project blog on Tech Community, and the worldwide project partners on Yammer and community. The idea there is there'll be links in here for you to get to that, and then you can also follow on social media on things like @project for Twitter, on Facebook, and on User Voice. So the idea there's going to be plenty of avenues for you to stay informed as progress is made on the new platform. Now, a special offer, we just introduced a little bit about OnePlan as far as adding capabilities to project. And for those of you that go with Project Online Professional, you can get a free copy of the OnePlan for the resource planning piece. Not everything that's involved in OnePlan, but that graphical resource planning that I showed you, you get access and be able to download that for free as part of you being a Project Online Professional subscriber. So the idea here is you can go download it and use it and get access to try it, and you can extend it to its other capabilities or integrate it more fully with Project Online if you contact Wicresoft and figure out and we can discuss what it will take to get you there. And then another special offer is a free PPM health check. One of the questions customers are going to have that have embarked upon this already is, okay, from where I'm starting today, what's it going to take to get me from where I'm at to take advantage of the latest things that are going on? So not only can we optimize your current implementation with this health check, we can also help you build a roadmap that makes sense and give you confidence that it's one that is not only doable, but is the lowest risk approach for you actually moving forward. And the idea there is we can provide outputs like health check scorecards, remediation plans, a deployment roadmap, a total cost of ownership evaluation of moving forward into the new pieces, and then just really just putting together a plan so that you have a comfort level that you're on a roadmap for success for the long haul. So overall, for next steps, we are offering this free PPM health check if you reach out to us. We can support you if you're at a stage where you're ready to get serious about this. We're happy to offer you a Wicresoft Chaperone Project Online trial, so we can set you up, give you an orientation, and actually provide nurturing through a trial period with you, so make sure you get the most out of your effort into that trial. Or if you want a more personalized one-on-one demo, we showed you some very short, very high-level pieces today, but if you want a one-on-one demo that matches the requirements or the needs or the curiosities of your own organization, we're happy to tailor that organization and go on a deeper dive with you. Now, this webinar today is one of a series. We do these every week, We have a whole library of on-demand ones we've already done with a lot of capabilities, and we have a schedule of upcoming webinars that's at www.wicresoft.com/webinars. And if you want to contact us about the offers or other questions you might have, reach out to us at, well, maybe not any sales. It should be contact us at wicresoft.com. And I'll change this in the version that we send out to you guys. Also, if you want to talk to me directly, feel free to reach out to me at jpatterson@wicresoft.com. With that, have we been able to answer everybody's questions in the chat panel today?
Yes, Jim, thank you for checking in, but I've been able to address everyone's questions, and there's been a lot of excitement about what's new with the project.
All right, well, hopefully we gave you an early vision into where things are going. Hopefully you guys found value in this today, and we really appreciate your interest, and let us know, and Wicresoft is anxious to see how we can help you get the most out of these things for your organization. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.